Moving on to the next session of the day, we have Ms. Nathalie Najjar from Lebanon. We are honored to welcome Professor Nathalie Najjar, a distinguished legal scholar, arbitrator, and attorney with over 3 decades of experience in domestic and international arbitration. A PhD graduate from the University of Paris, Pantheon Assas, she has taught arbitration at leading institutions, including Assas and St. Joseph University in Beirut, where she currently leads courses in both PhD and LLM programs. Professor Najjar is a senior partner at Ibrahim Najjar Law Firm and represents the Lebanese state before the ICSID, in addition to serving on numerous arbitral tribunals. She is also the chair of the Arbitration Commission at ICC Lebanon and General Secretary of the Lebanese Review of Arab and International Arbitration. We are privileged to welcome Professor Nathalie Najjar to share her insights on the ADR landscape in Lebanon and to enrich today's proceedings with a scholarly and practical expertise. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for your kind presentation. Allow me first to thank all the organizers and Mr. Imbavajayan for inviting me to speak in this very prestigious global and virtual platform, and for giving me the opportunity to introduce all the attendees to arbitration in Lebanon, to main features of arbitration in Lebanon, and to present the specific information relating to arbitration in this country, because whether probably this is a very tiny country, but actually beyond its very limited volume, actually Lebanon has a very long history in arbitration, as we can see it. But before stepping into the subject, let me introduce you with a brief overview of the socio-economic facts of this country. Lebanon, let me tell you, is an Arab country. It's considered, however, the most liberal country in the Arab world, both in terms of its economic, political, and legislative system. Lebanon does not have a state religion. It is a multi-confessional country, and it's accustomed to complex relations between different religious communities and between different Arab and Western cultures. Lebanon is at the gates of Asia, and at the same time, 3 hours by plane from Europe. It is considered as a crossroad of culture, as a sort of a melting pot. Well, of course, Lebanon has known many difficult times during its past decades. However, today, Lebanon seems like a country full of promises. For some years now, Lebanon has proven to be one of the largest natural gas countries in the world, although it still remains unexploited. So it's in due course of being exploited. And also it has a fairly large natural oil reserve that is still untapped and on the verge of being exploited. So there's a big potential with regard to natural resources. However, unlike other Arab countries that have long exploited oil and gas in the region for all the past few years and for all the past decades, whereas all other Arab countries were exploiting natural resources, the discovery of these resources is very recent. So for all these years, Lebanon has mainly relied on culture, on education of its citizens, rather than on natural resources and assets. This is why with regard to arbitration, we can notice that the Lebanese arbitrators have always been extremely prized in international arbitration. They are the most appointed arbitrators in the Arab countries and the ones that rank among the top 15 worldwide. So for a tiny country, it's a huge fact. First of all, you should know that major projects await for being put into practice, because first of all, there's a huge effort in order to rebuild the country, and of course we are on the verge of exploiting the natural resources, and the international community is now paying an increased attention to this tiny little country, and it has become the center of attention of many world leaders today. In addition to the exploitation of gas and oil, there is a full future of this country with regard to services, because, as I said, it has always relied on culture, on education, whereas other countries were relying on other types of resources. So, in this context, it's important to say that we should not base ourselves on the experience of the last few years, although they have been very and extremely difficult for the country. But we should see this country as a land of opportunity, and above all, to see the Lebanese arbitrator as being of international caliber, because of their, as we will see it later, of their profile. They are multilingual. They have several cultures, and especially they have a huge ability to juggle with different global legislative systems. In recent years, of course, Lebanon has not been among the most frequently cited party in international arbitration. However, this was due to the economic circumstances and political ones that this country endured. But today, with the change of the political facts and the political background, there is lots of opportunity in this area of the world. And it is very important to stress that we are today we have initiated a new phase of reforms, and the political appointments, notably the one of the President of the Republic, who is a person who has who have a very he's a bright figure, and an honest man and a hardworking man, and the president of the cabinet also, who is of an international caliber, who was the head of the International Criminal Court. So this places this country on a new era, in a new stance that makes him very promising in the future. How does that influence arbitration? Well, it's important to say that Lebanon, given this openness, this liberal system, has always been also very open to arbitration, this institution being the most prominent method of dispute resolution internationally. So, and Lebanon has always known a huge effort in international trade. It positions itself. First of all, the import and exports are very, compared to the domestic industry, is very prolific. And moreover, we can say that the Lebanese people have a huge history in traveling, in trade, and in international businesses worldwide. So this has reflected on arbitration and has influenced the system, which is one of the most liberal arbitration systems in the Arab world. Our system is taken from modern French law, and it was adopted in 1985, and it has it enshrines the most liberal principles in matter of arbitration. It's very liberal as the French law, and generally Lebanon is not known for having courts that testify a sort of defiance with regard to arbitration. To the contrary, courts are generally have adopted a very positive stance with regard to arbitration, and they consider this method as a very regular one, very normal method, and there is no competition between state courts and arbitration, which is quite different from the neighboring countries, where we know that in the Arab countries in general, arbitration is considered as an exceptional method of dispute resolution, which is not the case in Lebanon, as it's regarded as a very normal and usual way, and there is no strict positions with regard to the solutions that govern arbitration in this country. And of course, this has reflected on the importance of the arbitrators and their profile worldwide, because they come with a very rich background, because Lebanese lawyers, Lebanese arbitrators, and Lebanese people are generally multicultural, multilingual, as I said, and they have they are aware, and they study several kinds of systems. It could be the Arab system, the Lebanese system, and the French system and European system, as well as common law systems. So they are very open to worldwide solutions, and that explains why they rank among the top 15 worldwide, whereas they come from a very tiny country. Just to give you an idea about the size of this country compared to, of course, India, we are only 10,450 kilometers. So this gives you an idea how tiny we are, but we should not judge this country upon its modest size, but more on its culture and its position and its location in as I said, because it's a crossroad, and Lebanese people have always have a very huge tradition in traveling, in exporting their knowledge, and of course of being very keen in so many different languages and systems, and also legal systems. I will give. I myself, for example, I speak fluently, with no completely fluently, four languages. I am very frequently appointed in arbitrations, and in particular in international ones. And I have been a professor in France, in Beirut, and I have absolutely no difficulty in adapting either there or here. And I have been appointed in so many different and very varied profile of arbitrations, whether implicating Arab countries or elsewhere. So this gives you an idea how polyvalent, and how Lebanese arbitrators can be very I mean, they can adapt to so many different cultures and to different systems. Now, what about the Lebanese landscape with regard to arbitration? First of all, allow me to tell you that, given the fact that we have endured so many ordeals in the past, we have centers that have developed, and recently new ones have been created. But one center is the most prominent center in Lebanon, which is the Beirut Chamber of Commerce and Industry, that has an arbitration center. And this center is most often called upon for domestic and international cases, but mainly with regard to cases involving Lebanese parties. However, it has recently revised its rules and is becoming more competitive at the regional level. In addition to this center, the ICC, International Chamber of Commerce, Lebanon, has a very active commission. I am at the head of the arbitration commission at the ICC Lebanon, and it's very often appointed in order to suggest arbitrators for the ICC, of course, elsewhere internationally, and of course. But if you know better the ICC, you would know that it's not a center that's based in Lebanon. It's only the committee that's referred to, and this is why we cannot say that it's a center based in Lebanon. It's the arbitration commission that relates to the ICC in France or elsewhere, because there are now several seats of the ICC worldwide. So it's just the ICC Lebanon committee that is called upon whenever it's decided by the ICC in France or elsewhere, or in Singapore or elsewhere. Well, in terms of the Lebanese legal landscape with regard to arbitration, let me tell you that in order to implement the Lebanese legal provisions with regard to arbitration, as I said, that are taken from the French Reform of 1980, 1981, well, the Lebanese courts in general, and in terms of judicial precedents, do not testify, as I said, hostility with regard to arbitration, but to the contrary. However, we do have some particularities and some specific solutions, sometimes more in domestic arbitration than in international arbitration. And the major modern principles are shaped to the image of the French case law and are well enshrined in Lebanese practice. The remedies at the post-arbitral phase are very efficient. They are also taken from the French Reform, and they are very liberal with regard to international arbitration, because if I didn't say it, we do have a dual type of arbitration. We have domestic and international. They are governed by different set of rules, but in international arbitration we have a very liberal system, as I said, that is taken from French law. And Lebanon is a party to the New York Convention, to the Washington Convention, has concluded many bilateral treaties, investment treaties with many different countries that you can, of course, you can have a look on them if on the site of the Knesset. But most of all, you should know that the Lebanese legal landscape is, in general, very favorable to arbitration. Of course, with some, as I said, peculiarities, some particularities that are specific to the countries, but that are not against in their major guidelines. They are not obviously. They do not infringe international standards. In short, Lebanon is undoubtedly a land of opportunity, even if an important path remains to be made, mainly at the security and political fields and levels, but also in order to confront multiple challenges that cannot be concealed, with a view to an economic and judicial recovery in the country, and in order to allow this country to become a hub in the future. However, despite all these challenges that are waiting for this country, and I am sure that this country is ahead of a very prosperous area, and it is not only according to my point of view, because lots of changes have occurred recently, and it is the trend now. We should nevertheless give a very specific attention to the Lebanese arbitrators that have always continued to be among the most sought after in the world. And as such, it's important to learn about these arbitration and their own specific backgrounds in order to go beyond the framework of only Euro-Arab or Western Arab relations, but also to seek their appointment in more diversified disputes involving, why not, Asian countries. I myself have been appointed in some Asian cases, and I think that Asia should know more about this profile of arbitrators, because it suits a lot this type of dispute resolution method. So this is what I wanted to express with regard to Lebanon, but I would like, of course, to hear any relevant question that could be asked at that level, And of course, I'm here in order to answer your questions.
Thank you, Nathalie. Obviously, Nathalie is not an outsider. She is already part of the advisory committee and the board of KFCRI from its inception. And the way how Professor Nathalie highlighted about the Lebanese jurisdiction, which is not only liberal, which is also a quite very unique hub within that particular Arab world. And that is a great takeaway. And we are happy once again on behalf of KFCRI. Continuously, your support is required and already you're providing that. And this has to go in a longer way, wherein now this task of Global South ADR Alliance, in that we need your support as well as participation at the near future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mbarayan, for your invitation. And I was happy to lecture and to give this conference, this virtual conference with you. And allow me to assure you that I will always be at your side whenever you need any advice in this field.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.